am Eileen Fulton, retired teacher. I've lived in West Belfast all my life. My grandfather was a sheep farmer on the Black Mountain, and at the moment it's being destroyed by quarrying, and that's what I'm very much concerned about.
Eileen! Could you bring your best side down here, please? Just over here with the that horrible Selson chimney in the background down there. The one that I love, you know?
Yeah, I was thinking about making the place a clean air and looking at it.
That's right, that's it. Turn your back on me, that's your best side. Really got a picture of that now. Is everybody happy?
The gap seemed to be getting bigger every time I walked up there. And I started to talk to people about it. And people just seemingly then sort of began to notice it. They hadn't thought much about it before. And I thought what I could do. And I got this group started, and we called it the Black Mountain Action Group, to try to stop the quarrying in the Black Mountain. And that's where you see from the road the awful hole. It's really terrible looking, that's what it is. Terrible, and that's going to continue right back there, to the very back. I just don't like it. Take that mountain away, we have nothing really. I would hate to see the day you couldn't walk on that mountain. As a mountain.
We have planning permission that will take us through for about another 4 years. We'll probably then have to apply for further planning. The quarry's there, and it's going to stay there. It has to stay there. It forms an integral part of our business. But similarly, the residents are there, and they're going to have to stay there. So we're both right. We're entitled to be there, and they're entitled to be there. But so it's a bit like the chap crossing the road at the zebra crossing, getting knocked down. He was right, but he's dead right. We're not there to rape the countryside and to spoil it and walk away from it.
I don't think that what's happened to the mountain will have been tolerated or have been allowed to happen anywhere but West Belfast.
The DOE has given them permission to go on for God only knows how many years. They have the power. They're, in effect, they can do exactly what they like. So they don't actually have to listen to us at all.
I think it is something which belongs to all of the people of West Belfast, and which they shouldn't allow powers that be to neglect it or assist in its destruction. And as time goes on, I eventually think that people will become more and more committed to saving the Black Mountain. It's just that there's massive unemployment, there's massive housing shortages, and the environment and protecting the environment is seen as something that's further down the list in terms of the realities of life.
Well, I just feel angry that they were allowed to do it. I still think it shouldn't have been allowed. I don't think it had been allowed on any other side of the town. Cave Hill Group, they are way over in North Belfast. A lot of them professional people. They're very aware of the environment. And the Cave Hill seems a far safer hill from mining than ever the Black Mountain was, because they've managed to keep their hill as it is. We see what happened there when there was the slightest suspicion that they were going to start mining.
It was less than a week ago that a public meeting at Belfast Castle heard details of plans to prospect an area stretching from Lisburn to Carrickfergus. Today the Minister reassured them, however, that there was no chance of areas of natural beauty being destroyed by mining.
As far as places like Cave Hill is concerned, there's absolutely no question of mining going on there, and I said to them even if there was gold in Cave Hill, it would stay there.
Needham went himself even to see that when he came, but he said there would be no quarrying on the Cave Hill. He never told us anything like that. I found out that there was a Mr. Musson in the planning office in Commonwealth House. So I rang him up and I spoke to him about the Black Mountain and the awful gaping hole that was appearing there through quarrying. Then he told me that about the planning had been done years ago and they had nothing to do with it. But it still kept ringing him, and then I wrote letters to him. You see, there are no laws against planning unless the people object. So the people didn't see it, it wasn't in the papers. So nobody objected, so they were allowed to get whatever planning they got. So I often wonder what it's going to be like. Whoever can see it in 25 years. It'll disappear so much, it'll just be a flat land. There won't be any mountain there. And who can replace a mountain? There's nobody can replace a mountain.
We met the Black Mountain Action Group at an office meeting about a month ago and we invited them to the quarry. So this is the first occasion on which we've brought them physically to the quarry. And we're picking 3 of them up today. I think the founder member, Eileen Fulton, Jean Craig, and another representative of Community Technical Aid. And we're taking them up to Lip and see exactly what we do and endeavour to dispel any of their fears and explain to them what we intend to do in the future with regard to environmental controls and improvements.
He seemed quite very feasible sort of a fellow, Jenkins, but he's a local. You see, he lives about the Donegal Road. And that, and I asked him, are you a local, or do you know really much about Hannistown and the Black Mountain and that? So he told me where he lived, and his father had been a barber, and different people know him, you know.
Okay. I think the basic facts are that the quarry's there, Jean, and the residents are there, and we're both there, and they're 2 facts, and we must live together, because we wouldn't intend to go away, and no one's suggesting that the residents go away. So I think there must be compromise, and I think it's out of meetings like this and the openness that that compromise can be reached.
Well, let's see.
This used to be called the Old Quarry Lane. We were able to walk up this to the mountain one time.
The landfill site. That's
All the things here.
take it down. It's basically that one on the top just there. You see where the soil comes out to the edge and that's been graded back into blend in with the clump.
Did you see any of these, like the spoil heaps here that were also to be grassed? And along here?
Well,
Here?
the spoil heap you're referring to there is that area of mountain on the top which has been graded out with overburden just over there. There is grass growing on it.
I feel devastated when I look at cut the 2 halves, just cut them out in 2 halves. Could you not have had some notion about the environment when all this was happening? Imagine a local man who didn't see
Tell you what,
that.
Eileen, what we'll do is we'll show you what we do first. We'll take you down into the quarry, show you where we blast, where we crush the stone.
Just unbelievable how much crying has been done. It just gives you a sense that you couldn't, you could retrieve none of it. It's just going to be there. It's just gone, most part of the mountain, that's it. That's the way I feel about it. I felt a whole lot about it before I came up, but I feel really, what can you do about it? That's just how I feel. What can you do? You can do very little. Because I've got the planning and that's it. You think people walked over this? They walked over all this place. You couldn't walk over it now. Like it was just sheep cattle, all wildlife. Where's all that gone? All the flowers, bluebells, you could look from the Glen Road and see them in lovely patches in the front of that mountain. Heathers galore, bilberries, everything, foxgloves, everything's gone.
I think they're quietly satisfied, although they may not admit it, with what we're doing and what we've done, and that their reservation is now more against the planners than against us. I think Eileen Fulton, the elder of the three, was surprised at the scale of the operation. I think for the first time one would be.
I was shocked out of all knowing when I saw it. Couldn't believe the damage was done. I thought it was maybe some sort of a bit of quarrying of a hole. Just couldn't believe it. Was the whole mountain nearly was away at the back. Sir, I am writing on behalf of the Action Group, set up 3 years ago to stop quarrying on the Black Mountain, which is one of the beautiful hills surrounding Belfast. The quarrying of the Black Mountain has increased dramatically in the past 10 years. The destruction of the mountain and environment has been unprecedented. I would ask your readers to write to Mr. Needham at Stormont House in support of our campaign. Every letter of support is important to persuade the Minister to do what he has already conceded in the case of Navan Fort and County Armagh. Stop the quarrying. Yours sincerely, Eileen Fulton, Secretary, Black Mountain Action Group.
Well, the department has the powers under legislation to decide what gets dug out the ground and what doesn't, basically. As far as the Black Mountain is concerned, this is a quarry which has had planning permission for many years. It therefore has attached to it, through the planning permission, many financial obligations. It's a very important quarry. One of the major problems at the moment is people can see too much of it. If it was properly landscaped, properly set back within the mountain, people would not have a reason to notice it was there. The reason it's offensive is because it's so noticeable.
I would love to speak to Mr. Needham about his background and what was said about him in the paper, and what he said there about he was half Irish and half Jewish. So he said he would like to do something for the Irish people. So I would love to say to him, will give us back the Black Mountain.
One of the sort of great holy truths that the DOE and the other statutory bodies put forward was that the skyline as seen from Belfast wasn't been affected by the quarrying. So we decided that we would put a sign on the mountain saying "Save the Black Mountain," to change the skyline and to get people to start asking questions, and to get people to start asking questions of people like the Department of the Environment. What we want to do is to make people aware of exactly how much the environment has been disfigured by the aquarium, and that in fact an area of outstanding natural beauty has been destroyed by Philistines. Quite a lot of work has went into it. It's not something that you would organise overnight. There's been 3 or 4 weeks' work has went into it.
How am I going to get in there?
People going to enjoy stuff.
Limbo dance.
Well, I'm going to just stand here.
That's you.
Oh God, I'm in a terrible place here.
The people who are involved in the whole operation feel really strongly about it. And what we want to do is to get that feeling of annoyance, that feeling of exasperation with the situation.
No!
We hope that the sign that we're putting on the mountain will be seen all over Belfast. What we are saying is to the people of Belfast, here's what's happening. We're putting this sign on the mountain. We're drawing your attention to it. All those people who profess to be conservationists, all those people who profess to be concerned about the destruction of the environment, what is wrong with what's happening here? Why don't you support us? Why don't you take this issue up, which is on your own doorstep?
and that's what's important.
The impact on the people of West Belfast was fantastic because people rang me that night after it. Everybody we met in the street was looking at it. People who were coming into the city, who work outside the city, were telling me that they saw my sign, they saw the sign and how great it was. So it did everything that we wanted.
After we had put the sign up, we eventually come off the hill that day about 5:30, and the sign was still there until well into the night. Now sometime during the night somebody came and started to destroy the sign. They took the save away, and obviously we were angry about it, frustrated because of the work that had went into the whole thing. And we automatically thought that the people who did it had a vested interest in doing it. That is, there was something to do with the quarry or somebody who was opposed to our campaign. But as the days went on, we then found out that it was secondary school children that had actually did the thing. Kids who obviously were trying to express themselves. One of the things that the kids did put on the mountain was PIRA, which is a reference to the provisional IRA. I don't think that particularly lost any support because people obviously know that the IRA wouldn't come onto the mountain and put an advertisement on the mountain because they don't need the advertising. I think that letter there was the O, actually. It's very hard to distinguish at this stage. I think that was the O.
Oh, the summertime is coming, and the trees are sweetly blooming, and the wild mountain thyme grows around the blooming heather. Will you go, lassie, go? And we'll all go together to pull wild mountain thyme all around the bloomin' heather. Will you go, lassie, go?
Everybody has really awakened up to see what's happening. And those people down in Glencolin houses, sure, they have complained greatly about the dust and the noise and blasting.
It really is very bad up here, you know, and it does, and it's bound to affect you. When you actually can feel it in your mouth and you chew it, do you know what I mean? And you're breathing it, you know what I mean? It's bound to do your health.
Well, you see, I think the thing
some
is
harm.
that if we want the government to take some action to stop the quarrying, they won't just want to hear what people have said, you know, the way you're saying it to me.
Yeah,
they would call that anecdotal evidence. It doesn't guarantee any action. But I think that if we can get right around this estate and get most people in the estate to answer the questions, then we can get some idea of the level of problems that are being caused by the quarry.
Do you mind answering then some questions on the effects of the Black Mountain Quarry?
No, what's the questions?
Because it gave those people a chance to really tell their own stories, which they didn't do before. They maybe complained to the quarry, which was the wrong thing to do. Should have complained to the DOE.
The dust.
Well, the houses are very dusty and dirty, and every wee boy there is an asthmatic, and I think it affects him more.
You think it affects his health?
Yeah.
Dorothy, does the Black Mountain Quarry have any effect on your family, you or your family?
Well, you find quite a bit with the blasting.
The blasting and
Noise, dust.
noise and the dust. When blasting is taking place at the quarry, does your house ever shake or tremble?
Oh yes, definitely.
Some of the moments that I felt proud of the Black Mountain Action Group when somebody would stop you, maybe, and say, it's really great, the work that you're trying to do, or your group's trying to do, to save that mountain. That's a time you feel very much, you know, that, well, you're doing something and people are beginning to notice. And that's what we want. We want to get amalgamated with every other group that's possible, because that strength gives us strength and numbers. And now I think we have achieved a good lot. That way, when we started with only 11 members, we didn't really know anybody.
Hi girls, you remember yesterday we took our trip in a school minibus up to the Black Mountain, and Eileen came along with us and told us a little bit about it. And she's very kindly come back again today to tell us a little bit more about the Black Mountain.
Now, what did you see yesterday? Could you tell me what you saw yesterday?
I saw fans and men, and they were digging all the holes, and they were like wee bits of bibskin down.
What was the awful eyesore on the top of the mountain? Yes, the machinery. And that's what we want moved as well. I had some photographs of the damage done on the mountain, and I gave them out copies, and some of them did very good work, you know, really good impressions of what they'd seen.
Putting the trees down. Good girl, right?
Every one of the girls are going to do their individual letter and send it to Mr. Needham.
Dear Mr. Needham, why are you doing this to the Black Mountain? We all went to the Black Mountain yesterday and we saw a waterfall with rubbish in it, and they want that all stopped. If you don't do something about the Black Mountain, I will keep on complaining. People are trying to stop the quarrying on the Black Mountain. From Laura McAvoy.
I feel very strongly about the hills around Belfast, but people have to realise that there's a limit to what you can do about these things, and there are permissions that have been rightfully given. There is a lot of aggregate there, which is of great economic benefit to the province, and one's always talking about balances and compromises. Now, when I say compromise, I'm not prepared to compromise on the environmental aspects of what we're doing on those hills at all. But what I'm not prepared to do is just to say, well, we'll stop it all tomorrow and go back to a perfect world where nothing happens, because there are roads to be built, there are houses to be built, there are people to be employed, and it's a question, as I said, of balance in an industrial urban society like Belfast. I don't think we've got it that far wrong.
Needham is the boss of all. I've heard he's easier to talk to than the most of men, English men, have come over here. So we're close to him to see what he says.
If my true love she were gone, I would surely find another.
We could move people like they can move mountains. That'd be good. We need a massive amount of people to protest, but we're going gradually in that direction.
Lassie, go, and we'll all go together to pull wild mountain thyme all around the blooming heather. Will you go, lassie?